Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, February 4th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol SOPA. Very impressive move today, and certainly some updates here need to be made, as I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people watching it moving forward. And the first level that stands out to me is just kind of where is that next potential break point where if it breaks, it could really start to generate some additional pressure. And in my mind, that's right there at $2.80, as I'm trying to find a middle ground, meaning I realized right there, price didn't quite hit that red line. Right there, the price actually went up above the red line. But right there, the price, bounced directly off it. And like I said, is it the exact midpoint? It's not. But the general idea here is that this is a general area where the sellers are hanging out. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price were to come up here and push up through that level, that break right there could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible outcome. In terms of areas of support, I think that is an interesting trend line right there to watch for those of you that like to play trend lines. And then just if you like patterns, what we have here is basically a nice little wedge formation that is forming. So it's just a question of will it chop around a little bit more and get the break to the upside. So if you like any of these circumstances, pullbacks, breakouts, like to play wedges, then this offers something for everybody if you like this price range down below the $5 mark. Next one, IVVD, and just the monster mover on this one today. Great volume, very nice price movement. And, even as I speak right now, you can see it's attempting to try to get back up to these highs. But overall, let's map out some key levels. So the level that stands out to me immediately is more so from a pullback standpoint. If there is some sort of pullback, then right down around here, you have quite the history at 76 cents of the buyers stepping in. You can see once, twice, three times, price got down around there, and every single time the buyer stepped up. So if the price were to come down there, does that guarantee that the buyers will once again step up? Of course not, no guarantees. But is it rational to think that there could be buyers there? Absolutely. I mean, it's not irrational when the buyers were there before. Now, if it was just some sort of random spot where there's never been any bounces, yeah, that's where things get a little bit of that seems like a blind guess, but not a blind guess here, as there's been a track record here. So if you do like to play those pullbacks, keep an eye on that level. And then as far as areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate this. Just a question of, well, where did the party stop today? And that was right up there at the $1.11 mark. So like I said, no fancy reasoning behind that other than just asking the basic question, where did the party finally stop? And that was up there, like I said, at $1.11. But all in all, nice movement. We'll see if this momentum carries into Tuesday. Next one here, CYCN. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from last week when I mapped out this pattern here. You can see right there, got the beautiful break of the pattern, came down there, absolutely beautiful back test of the pattern. So classic example of resistance behaving as support, and then up it went. So for anybody that watched last week's video where I talked about this one and you took that wedge breakout, a big congratulations to you. But after today's price movement, definitely updates need to be done with the newest, basically little miniature pattern here. So let's get that into play. We have that area of resistance, and then change that to green for support. Have an area of support potentially down here around the 517 mark, and then just to make the pattern a little easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have our area of resistance, we have our support, we have the big move up right there. Make it a little bit more visual, put the golf ball down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. As I've said before, no guarantees, and the same applies for a pattern. Just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean the price will for sure go in the upwards direction, but it's just a matter of, okay, well, what would make sense? And yeah, I could totally see if the price chopped around here and eventually breaking out, that right there would make total sense as to why the price would go up, because from a technical standpoint, that would just be a textbook bull pennant pattern breakout. So if you like bull pennants, you like this price range, here you go. Next one, HCWB, and we have a pretty well-defined dynamic here, in my opinion at least. And this dynamic, I don't think is some sort of great discovery. You got to think a lot of people have noticed that there's this little consolidation forming right now, and then you can put a trend line very similar to that in place. So if you are someone that likes to play kind of breakouts of consolidations, or however you want to describe it, then yeah, I would say this one definitely fits the bill. Started strong, very nasty move, and when the prices and do things like this, at that point it becomes very valid to be like, okay, is this a pump and dump? Is this going to be some sort of gap and trap? what's going on here? And seemingly, as of now, we've gotten the answer. And no, because the price has at least essentially started to go sideways. Now, I wish I could say that just because the price is going sideways, that means it's for sure going to turn around. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it makes sense to at least question that, as opposed to having the price still dropping. And then if I was sitting there saying like, hey, it's looking like this is the bottom, you'd be totally justified to say, wait, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally just going straight down. But at least in this situation, it is going sideways. So does that mean the pullback's over? It does not. But whoa, that was a pretty nasty move right there. That's why I like to do these when the markets are open. Well, we'll see if it can recover. But if it can recover, get back up to that area, then yeah, I could see a nice little breakout occurring. Next one, NVDA. And first thing I need to do is just do a foundational, rule and chart in which states when levels of support are broken. So for those of you that did watch the video from Friday, hopefully you remember me talking about 118.50 as an area of support. But with the price now below it, like I said, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And that's actually already what played out here. Bounced up. It didn't hit it exactly there, came back down. But right there, basically hit it exactly, came back down. The good news is the price is still hovering right at that level. So that does make it reasonable to think that the price could be getting ready to break back up through that area. But even if the price does that, don't get me wrong, that is a good thing from a bullish standpoint. I just want to get too excited about it because not that far away, you then have this purple line here, the 50-period moving average, which could very realistically act as a key area of resistance. But nonetheless, 118.50 going to be that initial area to watch very closely. From a support standpoint, in my opinion, the level that you would definitely want to see hold is just because if this doesn't, then it's kind of back to the drawing board. But right there around 115.30, and I say back to the drawing board because if the price were to come down here and then break down below there, at that point you basically have the price having gone right back to where it was, hence going back to the drawing board. So not saying that's what's going to occur, but in the very near term, that's why I would certainly classify that as a very, very important area of support. But yeah, very rough start. Nice recovery. Will it continue to recover into Tuesday? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency, manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description area you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching this right at my website, there's an area on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, SGLY. Very nice setup, and mainly just because I think there's a very well-defined area. And when you have well-defined areas, when a lot of people are watching them, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So this is by no means some sort of great discovery. I'm not trying to imply this is a special skill, but you got to think a lot of people are watching right up here around the $1.45 mark, right? The price tried a couple of times here to get up through there. Couldn't quite do it this afternoon. It actually, the price, to be fair, did get slightly above each one, but then the momentum just disappeared immediately both times. So right up there around the $1.45 mark, definitely going to be public enemy number one from a resistance standpoint. And if you like well-defined breakout areas, in my opinion, that definitely fits the bill in that regard. As far as areas of support are concerned, nothing fancy here, just based on one of the foundational and famous rules within charts, and that is the 50-period moving average, which you can see right here, the purple line, slightly below. So that as long as the price stays above here, everything is good, because we also have a bit of that back to the drawing board dynamic, because if the price were to come down here and then break down through the 50-period moving average, what's that doing? It would be putting the price essentially right back to where it was, which is not exactly what you want to see, assuming you want to see an overall bullish move. But as of now, the price hasn't done that, so there's no need to talk about really going back to the drawing board. But you at least want to keep an eye on that 50-period moving average. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and very rough day for this one. To be fair, though, a lot of stocks had a rough day today with all the news and drama and all that sort of good stuff. But from a technical standpoint, I'm going to go ahead and, because this was an area of support, price is now down below it. When levels of support are broken and closable, they tend to act as resistance. So I'm just curious. We'll see how this trend line behaves, and if it does come into play again, will it be relevant? In my opinion, yeah, it will be relevant. That's why I want to keep it on the chart, but it's not necessarily relevant right now given the price isn't anywhere close to it. A much more relevant area of resistance right now would be that resistance trend line right there. Let me actually change it so we can differentiate it a little bit. There we go. So keep an eye on that as more so the nearer term resistance with much more of the overarching level, that resistance trend line up there. And then in terms of areas of support, as I go through it, I guess it's becoming kind of a common theme now. The back to the drawing board area, which I would consider right here, meaning as long as the price stays above 377.40, then there's a chance, right? But you don't want to see the price coming down here and breaking down through there, because again, at that point, it's essentially back to the drawing board. So that is why I would consider that a very strong area of support. But to give credit where credit's due, nice little bounce here from these lows, but can this bounce continue to build upon itself and get the break first up above that area of resistance? We'll see what happens. Next one, REBN did this on Friday, and that's where the pattern here is coming into play. And it's not exact, but somewhat of a case of deja vu, because we once again essentially have the same exact pattern. Now, not the exact, but same general idea. So we have an area of resistance now. We have this area of support. And there we go. So we have, again, another bull pennant pattern. So just very quickly, there was the bull pennant from Friday. Got the breakout here. And then when we turn that into the same thing, we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern for the golfers. Let's put the golfers in here, and you can maybe make a little bit more visual for yourself. So once again, bull pennant pattern. Just because it broke out last time doesn't mean it will break out again. But just with this, another theme, is it logical? Would it be shocking if the price came up here and then did something like that? No, that wouldn't be shocking at all. Not that you should expect it, not that you think it should be guaranteed, but that would just be, once again, an uptrend and another bull pennant getting a breakout within an uptrend. So we'll see what happens with it moving forward, but certainly a nice start to the week. Next one, BHAT, and really, I think this one's extremely straightforward. No need to overcomplicate things because we have a couple of famous moving averages, and they're both currently playing a role, and you probably know exactly what I'm going to talk about here. The first famous moving average is that pink line there, 200 period moving average, and the role that it's playing, well, you can see right now being an area of resistance. So any sort of attempted movement back upwards, that'll definitely be public enemy number one as far as resistances and levels that the bulls are really going to have to fight through. On the flip side of things, the little brother of the 200 period moving average, we have the 50 period moving average, and the role that is serving is that of a support. So same exact thing, just flipped around. If the bears are going to make any progress, then yeah, they're going to have to really bring their A game, because as was just demonstrated right there, the bulls are strong. The bulls are willing, at least as of right now, to buy at the 50 period moving average. So that would be, the area to watch if there is any sort of movement downwards. But really, until then, it's kind of just a back and forth battle. Now, if you're a channel trader, then yeah, there's money that can be made if you just want to play the potential chop between these two areas. But from an overarching standpoint, from a technical standpoint, these would definitely be the two key levels that I think most people are watching. Next one here, USEG, and this is one that's a very interesting scenario here headed into Tuesday. Big pullback, yes, but that's all past. But the first step of it is it held beautifully above that pink line there, 200 period moving average. And now it's gotten some strength, but right here, a little bit of a pullback. So my main question here is this just a healthy pullback? And is this just the breath before another round comes? And that's where, from a resistance standpoint, I think this area right here becomes very, very fascinating. Right up here at about the $2.80 mark. Not exact, but give or take was basically the top right here. Didn't hit exactly, but give or take, very close right there. So again, in my opinion, the interesting dynamic is it held strong, great. Showed strength, great. If this is a healthy breath, and breaths are good because you don't want to find yourself chasing the price, but if this can all of a sudden turn back up, and in some sense, it's like a little miniature bull pennant pattern, like a mini one. But overall, it's showing life. It's showing that it's, trying to make a move back upwards. So can it get a break up through $2.80? Let's see what happens on Tuesday. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the free live webinar. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, February 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. And as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these and you're looking to support the channel, you can do so in a very free and easy way. Just hit the subscribe button. That really does help out. And, it's like I said, an easy way, a free way to support the channel. And again, go get signed up for that free class. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for watching. Take care.